In late 2016, a young Vietnamese woman named Doan Thi Huong was approached by a man who called himself Mr. Y. Doan was an aspiring model and pop star, but had thus far achieved little success in her ambitions. Mr. Y claimed to be a South Korean television producer. He wanted to recruit Doan to be an actress in his prank videos, offering to pay her about $100 per video. This was far more money than she had made in the past. For the prank videos, Doan would go up to a random guy on the street, put her hands on his face, kiss him, then apologize and immediately run away. There were supposedly hidden cameras in the area to capture this. In January of 2017, Mr. Y told Doan they were going to travel to Malaysia to film prank videos. All expenses for the trip would be paid by Mr. Y's company. Doan was ecstatic about the opportunity. She thought Mr. Y's media company must be big and prestigious enough that they can even organize film shoots internationally. When they went to Malaysia, they indeed performed a prank video on a random pedestrian at the Pavilion Kuala Lumpur, just like they had done previously in Vietnam. Doan can be seen here approaching the unsuspecting pedestrian and appearing to touch his head before quickly running away. On February 2nd of 2017, Mr. Y told Doan they would be filming another prank video also in Malaysia, but this one would be slightly different. The prank would take place at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. For this prank, there would be a new actress and actor involved. The actor would be a fat bald man wearing a jacket and carrying a black bag. They were to perform the prank on him. Importantly, Doan would not meet or talk to this new actor beforehand. The new actress would be Indonesian national Siti Aisyah. While Siti was an Indonesian national, she had been living in Malaysia for the past few years, working as a part-time spa masseuse. She was approached by a man who called himself James. James claimed to work for a Chinese media company. He hired her to make prank videos. Her recruitment was almost identical to how Doan was recruited in Vietnam. Mr. Y gave Doan something to spray the man's face with, while Siti was to cover his face with a handkerchief. This was all supposedly part of the prank. After they sprayed his face, they were to run away and call taxis to leave the airport immediately. As it turns out, the man they were told to target was Kim Jong-Nam. The half-brother of North Korean Supreme Leader, Kim Jong-Nam was the eldest son of the previous North Korean leader, Kim Jong-il. It was originally believed he would be the next leader of North Korea, but at some point he lost favor with his father and had been living in exile since 2003. This was a loose end that Kim Jong-un wanted to cut off once and for all. After being sprayed, Kim Jong-Nam quickly realized he had been poisoned. He went to the airport staff and told them he needed medical attention immediately. He was immediately rushed to the airport's medical wing. As it turns out, the canister Mr. Y gave Doan contained a deadly nerve agent. Even with immediate medical attention, the chances of survival were almost zero. And indeed, Kim Jong-Nam died at the airport within less than an hour. Within days, Siti and Doan were identified from CCTV footage at the airport. They were arrested and charged with murder, which carries a mandatory death penalty in Malaysia. As it turns out, Mr. Y and James were North Korean operatives from the beginning. There were also a number of other operatives who helped in the planning. Immediately after the deed was done, they fled back to North Korea. A couple of them were unable to leave the country, so they hid in the North Korean embassy. The Malaysian authorities eventually let them return to North Korea in exchange for the release of Malaysian citizens who had been detained in North Korea. None of the operatives were charged with any crimes. Doan and Siti's lawyers argued they had been duped. They had no idea who Kim Jong-Nam was and thought they were playing a harmless prank. For the next 2 years, they were locked in a Malaysian prison where their fates were decided in court. Skeptics pointed to the suspicious nature of the prank they were asked to perform. Why were they asked to cover his face with a handkerchief? Why were they asked to spray his face with an unidentified liquid? These were things they had never done before in their previous prank videos, and given that the man was supposedly also an actor, why didn't they talk to him beforehand to coordinate the film? And while they had supposedly been making prank videos, neither of them had ever seen any of these videos being shown publicly. The defense argued that these were young and impressionable girls. The North Korean operatives were well-trained intelligence agents who knew exactly how to manipulate them. They offered them money and a promise of a career in acting. This was a seductive offer for these two girls, who both came from poor backgrounds, so they suspended their disbelief and trusted their patrons, regardless of how strange the requests became. In 2019, the charges were finally dropped. Both women were released and returned to their respective home countries of Vietnam and Indonesia. To this day, nobody has faced justice for the murder of Kim Jong-Nam. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Kim Jong-Nam's assassination? Do you believe the two girls were really duped? Or did they know more than they're letting on? Let us know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as every week we'll bring you the most shocking true crime stories from around the world. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.